Coming to paperback and e-readers, the Steam Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed all-new Steam series adventure. Pre-order your copy of the Steam Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today. I got some comments from viewers who wanted to tell me that people like James Cameron and Michael Bay could go out here and make their own films because they have billions of dollars. And what those people don't understand is that when it comes down to the entertainment business, you really don't want to just go out here and finance a film on your own, because there are a lot of intricate things related to this business, and you really have to know how it operates before you start spending money. Now, in the video that I made about a week ago, I talked about how legendary filmmakers like James Cameron and Michael Bay can't get a film greenlit by one of the major studios. And many viewers wanted to say that James Cameron and Michael Bay, based on their influence, could go out here and make their own movie. However, that would be something that no smart filmmaker would do, because you really need to be able to get things greenlit by the studio to ensure that your film is one that is distributed by the studios. Now, yes, James Cameron is a filmmaker with a lot of influence as related to being able to get a film greenlit in the past, and has made hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. However, the whole risk would be on James Cameron if he spent that money on that film without getting an assurance from the studio that his film would be distributed to theaters all across the country. Now, when it comes down to a director really wants to go out here and get that green light, not just in order to get the financing for that film, but to ensure that they'll be able to ensure that the film will get distribution, and get distribution to all of the movie theaters in North America, and ensure that they would be able to get a return on their investment if they went out here and decided to try to go get financing or finance the project on their own. And that's what James Cameron and Michael Bay were lamenting about the entire process with the studios, because in the past you had people who understood the film business, and as they understood the film business, they knew that if you had a director like a James Cameron or a Michael Bay, you were possibly assured that you would be able to recoup your costs if you bought a film from that filmmaker, and you would be assured that you would be able to recoup all the costs as related to the distribution and the marketing budget for that project. Because it's not just making the film. Yes, you can make a film with your own money, but in order to sell the film, you need to be able to have connections with executives who will go out here and give you that green light, because that green light isn't just about having this film approved, but it's also about an assurance that the studio will buy the film, because usually the studio buys the film from the people who made the film, the producers. They buy a film from the producers, and once the producers get paid, then they recoup their costs for the film, and the studio now is on the hook for that film. And once they're on the hook for that film, what they're going to do is go out here and distribute that film to theaters, and then market that film so that they can recoup their costs as related to what they paid for the film. So when it comes down to this whole process, the studios really, what they want to do is be able to ensure they're going to be able to continue making money. And it's a whole process as related to things. It's a process. And again, when it comes down to directors who have built a reputation, like a James Cameron or a guy like Michael Bay, what they want to do is, again, have those connections to assure that they can be able to get those films, again, greenlit not only for production, but make sure that they get a return on the investment. And that whole process has basically been slowed down by people who have entered the entertainment business and don't know how the entertainment business works. We've gotten an influx in Hollywood over the last 20 years of people from the accounting department, and even worse, we've got an influx of people from Silicon Valley, as many of the streaming services have emerged. And many of these people, yes, they know technology and they know how to, again, count pennies, but they really don't understand the entertainment business and the intricate process of the entertainment business and how the intricate process works. And because they don't understand the intricate process of how the entertainment business works, they go out here and it takes forever to get a project greenlit and even longer to get the marketing budget set up for these projects. Even worse, what happens with these people who are in executive positions is they go out here and they don't really know how to effectively market movies. And since they don't know how to market movies, a lot of times good movies wind up, like the creator, falling through the cracks because they don't advertise them effectively, or they basically mismanage all of the marketing the same way they've done with many movies like the Star Wars franchise and the MCU. So what happens is that it becomes a nightmare to get projects out, especially these days, because we've got a group of inexperienced executives, whether they be bean counters or they be these Silicon Valley tech nerds. These Silicon Valley tech nerds have a bad case of tunnel vision, and again, their tunnel vision has them focused on products like the MCU, and again, seeing it like a product, and again, not seeing it as a story that you can sell to an audience. Because when it comes down to film, when you're making films, again, you're telling stories about people, and you want to tell different stories about different people all over the world, because that's how you sell movies. And that's one of the big problems we're having with stuff getting greenlit these days. And again, because the studio executives, again, don't really understand the business. Many old school executives did. And we lost a lot of talent in a brain drain due to the Telecom Act of 1996. Due to the Telecom Act of 1996, we suffered a major brain drain of seasoned executives who knew the business as related to greenlighting projects. And as we lost this whole group of seasoned executives and had them replaced by bean counters and people like the Silicon Valley tech types, what has happened is the entire process for making films has basically gone into stagnation, and guys like James Cameron or Michael Bay, again, directors who are known for, again, being able to make box office hits, can't get a project through, and can't get a project through as related to getting a project greenlit. And even though they've got the money to make a film, the problem is selling that film to the studio. The problem is selling the film to the studio because you need to be able to get assurances from the studio before you start shooting, because in order to get that film financed, you need to be able to assure that you can get this film distributed to the theaters. You need to assure that you can get this film marketing as related to the studio with advertising from the TV, radio, and online. You need to assure that you can build buzz and generate some heat to build anticipation so you can have a strong opening, because you only get one chance at an opening weekend. You only get one chance at an opening weekend, and you make most of your money in the opening weekend. Moreover, you only get one chance to make a first impression on the audience in that opening weekend. So everything really is paramount to getting a film greenlit, because getting a film greenlit just doesn't mean that start with the screenplay. Yes, you can sell the screenplay to the Prodco. That's step one. And after you sell the screenplay to the Prodco, then what happens is the Prodco goes out here and tries to raise the financing. And as you're trying to raise the financing, what you want to do is go out and basically go to a studio to assure that you can get distribution, because distribution, basically what this does is it creates a trust with the studios as related to, again, and the financiers as related to getting the money. Once you've gone out here and assured people that this film is going to theaters, then you can go out here and people will take a higher risk on your film. They'll take a risk on that film because they know, yes, this film has already been assured a green light for distribution. It's been given a green light as related to being made. And again, these assurances ensure that this film is on its way, because after they buy the screenplay, you have to go out here and again get the approval of these people as related to them purchasing the film and distributing the film. And that's the thing that James Cameron and Michael Bay are lamenting, because the process these days is so slow, because many of these new guys from Silicon Valley and these new guys from the accounting office, they are just so afraid of risk, and they're so afraid of trying a new concept that a lot of great new stuff isn't being made. Because I know that James Cameron, yes, he has made, again, the billion-dollar movie Avatar, and Michael Bay made Transformers movies, and before that made the Bad Boys movies. Again, here's a guy who, again, they know is good for the money, but don't want to take a risk on a new concept. And I believe a lot of filmmakers want to make new concepts. They want to make fresh concepts, but the whole thing is they can't get the green light because nobody at the studio wants to take the risk to buy these new films, nor do they want to take the money to market them. No, they want to play it safe and continue working on films like the MCU or films like Star Wars, looking to minimize their risk. But that's not how it works in the movie business. No, the movie business has always been about risk, but those people have faith to give those filmmakers the assurances to be able to make their films, and they go out here and again give them those assurances so that they can make those films. And again, this is why they again want to be able to greenlight projects very quickly, because again, based on a name, you want to know that this guy again is going to do good after the screenplay is sold, because usually once the screenplay is sold, this is where they start working behind the scenes, again hoping to get that green light. And usually when you've got a big name director like a James Cameron or a Michael Bay or a Martin Scorsese behind a film, usually that assures that that film is going to get a theatrical run at 3,000-4,000 screens, and get that theatrical run in a theater of 3,000 to 4,000 screens, because that's how you're going to make the big money on opening weekend. Because again, the theaters, when they hear, okay, this studio bought this film, and if they're buying the film, then we're assured to again make some money. So it's a whole process as related to the business, and that's why you just cannot go out here and say, okay, well, he's James Cameron, he can make a film. He's Michael Bay, he can make a film. Well, there are a lot of people out there who make films, but the whole thing is you want to get your film sold, and you want to be able to recoup your costs on the film, because once you sell the film, again, it then becomes the property of the studio. The same way, if I were to sell a screenplay, it becomes the property of the production company, and once it becomes the product of that production company, usually after it's sold, what happens is you get a flat fee in some cases, and possibly again 3 to 5% of the production budget once it's sold. And once it's sold, again, it's their property. And again, once they go out here and make the film, they then sell the film. And once they sell the film to the studio, then the studio again goes out here and makes deals for distribution to the theaters. And again, that distribution deal is how they have to divide 50% to the theater and 50% to the studio. And again, it's a whole bunch of dominoes have to fall in place for them to be able to recoup their costs. And that's what is really, again, stalling things as related to getting greenlit, because again, greenlit just doesn't mean that your project is again going into production. It starts with again selling the script, and again, after the script is sold to the Prodco needs to be able to get those assurances from the studio. I know I'm repeating, but I want you to understand they need those assurances from the studio that they can get the distribution and get that distribution to be able to recoup the cost. So what's happening here is a lot of risk to get those rewards, and a lot of risk that people don't know about. And that's why you just can't go out here and just start spending money again in this business. Nobody just comes out here and starts spending money on their own unless they really believe in a project, because again, it's a lot of risk, and again, you have to be able to mitigate that risk. That's what people in this business try to do behind the scenes all the time. They look to mitigate their risk, but sadly, when you've got guys who have no experience in film to know how to take risks, what happens is they wind up stalling the process. They wind up stalling the process because they don't understand that, if this guy is a guy who's good for box office and good for building buzz, then he's worth the risk. And when you have guys who are worth the risk not being able to get green lights as related to getting those films bought and distributed, then you have a bottleneck as related to things. And again, this bottleneck that we have is really the thing that's choking the American entertainment industry and keeping it from being able to reach new audiences who want new material, new audiences that are looking for material, looking for different movies other than the so-called safe movies that are starting to become less popular because the audience is burnt out on them. People are burnt out on superhero movies. They're burnt out on movies based on video games. They're burnt out on movies based on animation as related to computer animation. No, people want something different. People, as I see it, definitely want a comedy. They want to be able to laugh in these stressful times. They want to be able to laugh and have a good time at the theater. They want to be able to escape. But sadly, the realities of Hollywood are keeping people from escaping, because you have people who would rather push agendas and identity politics, or people who just are so nerdy that they don't understand the business of entertainment. And these people, again, are choking the life out of the business because they don't know how the business works. And if you don't know how the business works, it doesn't matter how much money you spend, you're not going to be able to reach your audience, because if you don't know how to reach audiences, then you're just throwing good money after bad. And that's what Martin Scorsese did with his film Megalopolis or Metropolis or whatever it's called. He basically spent money on a film, but because he didn't have the right distribution and marketing deals, he basically threw good money after bad. And that's why you just don't go out here and start spending money on a film without a solid business plan or solid assurances from seasoned executives who know how the business runs. Now, if you want to learn more about the entertainment business and the struggles of black performers in Hollywood, like black actresses, you can pick up my screenplay book, All About Marilyn, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And if you want to check out how I would write a TV series, you can check out my screenplay book, All About Nikki the Fabulous First Season, to see how I would do a sitcom in the Disney and Nickelodeon style, and in 13 fabulous episodes of a fabulous first season. And if you want to check out my books in the fantasy genre, you can check out my books in the SJS Direct universe, such as those in the ISIS series, the Steam series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my vampire novel Eternal Night, my black sorority novel The Thetas, or my business book A Recipe for Success. And you can check out my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, on Lulu.com. And you can get that comic for the same price as it was in the 2022 Kickstarter. And if you want to check out, again, all of my books, again, you can find them everywhere, not only Amazon, you can find them on Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and even big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about the entertainment industry, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, All About Nikki, A Fabulous First Season, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meets Clueless in this absolutely fabulous African-American 1990s teen sitcom. Get all 13 episodes of All About Nikki, the fabulous first season, in paperback and e-readers today. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.